Sergeant David Maitlen has more than 20 years' experience in law enforcement. He started his career in Dallas, Texas, and now serves the Torrance Police Department in Torrance, California. He has worked in patrol, CSI, arrest and control, community lead officer, and SWAT. Most recently, Sergeant Maitlen initiated an aerial drone program for his department. Here to share the knowledge gained through hundreds of deployments is Sergeant Maitlen.
What if, start with a question, what if there was a tool or technology out there that could increase safety and limit liability of your department at the same time? What if this technology gave supervisors a bird's eye view and real-time information on almost any situation? And what if police officers or first responders could hit that pause button so they don't have to run into a dangerous situation on bad or old information? Well, this technology exists today. So this technology is unmanned aerial systems. The Torrance Police Department has been using drones since 2017 in a law enforcement environment. We estimate we will have over 200 deployments this year. To date, we have located 18 suspects, we've improved officer safety, and continue to discover new applications that reduce time and liability in ways we can't measure. Before we continue, let's get something straight. Drone is not a dirty word. We're not talking about Reapers or Raptors that come out of the sky at 30,000 feet with laser-guided missiles. We're talking about drones that you can buy off the shelf. Most of the drones we use are under 15 pounds. They're the same drones that your kids can buy and play with. The difference is how we fly them and how we're using them to make law enforcement safer. So here's my background. I've been a police officer for 22 years, and no experience I've had during that 22 years prepared me for this. My background, well, when I was about 6, I had a remote control planes and cars, and my kids now have cars. So I thought, what better than to be the drone supervisor? So I raised my hand, but unfortunately, I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't understand how much work had to be done before that first flight would ever take place. So first thing I had to do was take the FAA Part 107 test. So with that test, has nothing to do with police work. It talks about runway, lift, weather, angles of attack, and most importantly, airspace. So I know what you're asking, did I pass? Yes, I passed the test after a lot of studying. So now, came back to the department with my certificate in hand, and I sat down with my team of 6 and tried to figure out how we were going to use these drones. So we came up with some obvious list, about 9 things: perimeters, SWAT, missing people, special events, crime scenes, search and rescue, hazmat, maybe unbarricaded people, and also disaster response. So next, policy. So now, because I had my certificate, we had these list of items. I was now an expert, so I needed to look at policy. So figured out I would go to other departments, see what their policy said. So I found departments that had no policy and just deployed the drone, and other departments that had a 26-page policy. There was absolutely no way you could fly a drone and not violate this 26-page policy. So we took the simple approach. Follow the FAA guidelines, make sure all necessary information is documented both for the FAA and in our utilization report, and record the flight. We wanted to look at ways to mitigate safety concerns and privacy concerns and have checks and balances. We want to make sure a supervisor could supervise, but also my guys could get the drone off the ground quickly and efficiently. So our policy was in place. Next, we had to find funding. We reached out to our Torrance Police Foundation, a newly formed foundation that was looking at technology to invest in. Luckily, they saw the benefit in drones and invested and bought us our first drones. So now, we had to look into testing drones. I thought this was going to be the fun part. I thought we were going to go out there, fly all these drones. We tested everything from $1,000 drones to $60,000 drones. Here's what we found out quickly. All drones are not created equal. Some flew, some didn't fly, some flew for a couple of seconds and then bounced off the ground. Now we understand a little bit more. But then all we knew was they need to be reliable and safe. So after almost a year, it was time to take it to the city council. We had our 107 pilot's license certificate, we had our policy in place, we had our funding. So we knew we would get a lot of questions. We knew we were going to get questions about privacy, We also got questions about record retention, how the drones were going to be used, and how it was going to be supervised. We were very lucky. Our city council was very supportive. We had no major issues, and we've been lucky because they've continued to support us throughout the last years. So in March 2017, we were officially approved to start flying the drones. Our first call came out not too long after that. It was a fatality traffic accident. So this accident, the debris field was 500 yards, multiple cars, skid marks. Usually we'd have CSI officer get up on the fireman's ladder, take some pictures. This time we used the drone. We put the drone up. Nothing is more nerve-wracking than standing there with a controller in your hand, flying the drone for the first time, and having everybody standing behind you watching. So as we took pictures, everybody quickly figured out what we could see on the controller and what we were actually doing with the drones. Well, that was good and bad, because now word spread and the requests started coming in quickly. So between March of 2017 to December of 2017, we had 60 deployments. Once officers really understood what we could actually see and do with the drones and the view that we could give them, the requests came in nonstop. Our 9 standard types of deployments that we thought we could use it for turned into a lot more. We quickly learned that we could use them for radio tower inspections, training videos, we could assist the fire department, we could do search and rescue, we could also take pictures for DUI checkpoints, we've done police funerals, we've even documented the delivery of our mobile command center. We've used them for dignitary protection. We also figured out that the small ones could be used for indoor and tactical situations. And then the last 2. So the things I never thought I'd be using a drone for. Coyote tracking and management, and also, yes, cat counting. We've gone out in a park to count stray cats in the middle of the night. So here's the lessons we've learned, and maybe it'll help you as you start your program. There's a lot of valuable lessons, and it took us a while and a lot of testing to figure out. So first, one of the biggest misconceptions, bigger is not always better when we're looking at drone platforms. We originally looked at these huge drones. They were carbon fiber. They had cool tactical stuff. They could drag you around water skiing. It was amazing, all the stuff they could do. But do we need this big platform? What we realized is we needed different platforms, different sizes, everything from a size like this down to the smallest size. And they all had their own purpose. Also, every manufacturer came out and told us about how fast their drone was. My drone can go 55 miles per hour. Well, here's the other thing. What do police officers know if you tell them it can only go 55 miles per hour? They will try to make it go faster. So you know if it can go 55 miles per hour, you will have a police officer that takes it out when it's windy and gets that tailwind and goes 58 miles per hour. He will go 58 miles per hour, get a really cool screenshot, and then he will crash into a tree getting that really cool screenshot, and your investment will be over. So don't look at the speed. Look at reliability and the safety. And now for your battery. Battery life is very important. I will tell you that your battery will die as soon as you find the suspect. I will tell you this again. Your battery will die as soon as you find the suspect. It happens every time. It's almost comical now. You can call me when it happens to you. So when you're looking at drones, don't look at the one that only has a 7-minute lifespan unless that's what your mission calls for. Look at ones with a longer battery life, ones that will fit your mission. And also pick the right team. This is a big one. Not everybody's flying ability is the same. I don't want to pick the guy that has the top cop award 5 years running. I want the guy that plays Minecraft and plays Fortnite. I want the guy that knows about technology and understands how to use it. I want the guy that's highly motivated. I want the guy that wants to push the team forward. Luckily, my team is highly motivated. This is one of the reasons we continue to push forward and have different types of deployment. The other question I'm often asked is, how big do you want your team? Well, starting out, a small team is easier to manage. You can get together and figure out all your standard operating procedures. You can work out your kinks that if you have a big team, it might be harder to do. We started out with 6. That was our first year. Second year, we moved to 10. Next year, we will have 15 on our team. So another misconception I had was working with police helicopter air units. I really thought that we were going to come in, we were all going to be friends, and we were all going to work together. Unfortunately, for the most part, this wasn't the case. We'll show a video where one of the helicopter pilots that we worked with in this video actually didn't like the drones. So we took him out to training, we let him fly a drone, we showed him the safety features and how we were going to mitigate risks. Remember, whenever there's a helicopter in the air, you always have to mitigate the risks with the drones. So once we had our communication down, once we understood the uses, we then had our first deployment. This is a deployment where the helicopter, police helicopter, and a drone were put up at the same time. As you notice, suspect stops because he's looking at the police helicopter as it's orbiting. What he doesn't notice is the police drone right above him. This was a great example of working in unison, how it can not only help increase officer safety, but it can help us catch the bad guy.
Airship, you got the drone in sight? The airship has the drone.
Along with the communication, you also want to look at reaching out to your air traffic control towers. These are also somebody who you will have to communicate with on a regular basis. And by communicating with them, you can figure out your airspace and also help the safety and mitigate the safety risks. So now that you have your program started, now that you're ready to deploy drones, here's the big tip. Don't let your program stay on autopilot. We feel that our team is pretty advanced when it comes to drone deployments, but it's only because we're constantly improving. We're constantly trying to move forward, and we're always looking at new technologies and new ways of deploying it. We constantly test new equipment. We constantly find new ideas and new types of deployments. We're always improving our flying skills. This is very important. Don't let your knowledge stop once you deploy that first drone. Keep your knowledge moving forward. Keep your flying skills moving forward. That's what's going to keep your program safe and let you continue to deploy the drone. So in conclusion, the bottom line is this. These are just another tool for first responders, just like all the tools on my belt. Just like any tool, it has a place. It can help increase safety for the first responder and the public they protect. I think this is just the start of what drones will do for public safety, and I'm excited to see where they go in the future. Thank you.